As we creep further into the abyss and death of comic books as we know it, there's not a whole lot to get excited about when I'm talking about this stuff. And people want to know, Wes, why can't you get excited about comic books anymore? Here to talk to me about that is my good friend Doc. How you doing, Doc?
I am not excited about comic books. So
I know how you feel, especially having your channel here. Obviously, there are things to get excited about comic books. I mean, Mark Miller is kicking ass and taking names. Batman and the Joker Deadly Duo is certainly a standout series. There's a lot of stuff going on in crowdfunding, a lot of exciting stuff going on there, but mostly I cover DC and Marvel comics here. And obviously I do dip my toe into the indie comics and stuff every once in a while. But when you look at Marvel and DC, what am I supposed to be excited about? The fact that they're rebooting the DC Comics universe again for like the third time in 5 years. Oh, that's really exciting. The fact that we almost got the Peter Parker MJ relationship in Spider-Man that we've been waiting for 25 years, and then that was snatched away and Peter Parker's an a-hole again. The fact that Donny Cates had a couple of good series, is no longer at Marvel Comics, and they both died on the vine. There's just not a lot to be excited about. Am I supposed to be excited, Doc, about the nonstop events that just come from Marvel and DC, and each are less meaningful than the last?
No, but I mean, you can be excited about the likely impending heat death of the comic book universe. Because that's
I'm not excited about that. I have a comic book channel, Doc. I'm part of the ecosystem. I like comic books to get bigger so my channel can get bigger.
I get that. But see, sometimes you've reached such a degree of entropy that the only thing you have to do is wait for the heat death, and then one spark is all it'll take
waiting for
to
the
reignite.
Phoenix, huh?
Yes. it will for it to rise like a phoenix with sane people in charge that are interested in making good comic book stories, that are interested in making money, that are interested in selling things to people that want to buy them, not to a phantom audience that they really want. You can get excited about that. Although sadly, we've been waiting for that for a little too long now.
I would love to talk about House of X Powers of 10 again. That was amazing stuff. I reviewed every single issue multiple times on this channel because I thought it was amazing. I thought it was a renaissance for X-Men. Guess what, Doc? Absolutely botched right out of the gate. Too many series, too many bad writers, didn't go anywhere. I was excited about Chip Zdarsky's Batman. I said, hey, this failsafe thing is really good. Gets to the end, drops the ball in the landing, and then takes Batman in a direction that I don't even know what the hell is even going on anymore. I was like, okay, we're going to another multiverse, which we just did with Batman and all the characters in the DC universe. So I have gotten excited about things here on the channel, and I've certainly promoted things here on the channel. But every single time I do, Nick Spencer's Spider-Man is the best example. I did multiple videos about, hey, Nick Spencer is saving the Spider-Man character. Nick Spencer is erasing the history that we hate with Spider-Man. Nick Spencer is going to save the franchise. And guess what? They burned me on that one too, Doc. I'm pretty jaded at this point. Every time I get excited about something, it absolutely blows up in my face because these guys are fucking incompetent.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel a little bit like Wile E. Coyote here. Everything kind of going according to plan, and then just everything Acme Dynamite's right up in our face because they feel the need to bait and switch. The publishers do. They need to draw us in. They need to keep sales going. They need to actually get buzz behind things. But then they need to absolutely fuck us at the end, right at the point of payoff, because God forbid they actually give us what we want. We've talked about it here on the channel a number of times and on the streams. That's one of the main reasons that I gave up New Comics, between X-Men completely falling off the rails. And I really tried to hang on with that. I tried to find some silver lining, no matter how much of a disaster most of the line was.
We still had Hellions, at least, for the most part. For the first year.
Yeah, you had Hellions. And then there was a period of time early on in where X-Force was pretty good. And it seemed like it was going somewhere. And there was a period of time where Wolverine felt like it was going somewhere. And there'd be the few issues here and there where Jonathan Hickman felt like he was actually going to fucking do something in X-Men instead of basically just running around in circles while he waited for all the other fools that he incompetently hired into that office to get around to actually doing something in one of their books so that he could move the narrative along. And then right when it felt like there might be something going, oh, Nick Spencer quits and goes to Substack. Oh, Jonathan Hickman quits and goes to Substack. Over on Thor, Donnie Cates was actually doing something interesting, and then he turns into a fucking train wreck. Boom, he's just gone from the company. Every single time it felt like we were actually getting to a destination that would have put these characters back on the right footing. It blew up in our faces, Wile E. Coyote style. So I just said, you know what? I'm done. And it's disappointing because I want to love comic books. I love comic books when they're done competently.
Yeah, then you look over at DC Comics. I like Wally West. He's not my favorite character, but he's one of my favorite characters. They go out there and they do Heroes in Crisis, destroy the character, make him the focal point of the Flash series. The sales absolutely die. No reason to support Wally West, although I did like Flash Forward. They bring in Jeremy Adams, a complete unknown. They put him on the series. He fixes the character, rehabs him, gets him in a place that people have actually wanted to see Wally West for a long time. The sales start booming. I'm promoting the goddamn book every single month on my channel. This is the comic book that you have to read. What does DC Comics do? For me going out there and supporting the book and getting the word out and doing the best that I can to help them out and improve the sales on that book, they remove him from the book, no reason.
Absolutely. I mean, just right where you're finally almost to a finish line, the book might be sustainable on its own. Hype and fan interest had grown to the point where it might be self-sustaining. You wouldn't even need people like you or I to evangelize about a book. People actually were buying it and they didn't need to be convinced to try it. They got a fucking Nancy Kerrigan this shit right in the kneecap, right as you're about to do your victory lap. This is the most dumb, backwards, incompetent industry I have ever seen in my entire life. Make Flash your number one book because people are buying it and because it basically pushes the writers on Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman, the rest of your actual big three characters, and make a book that now can compete with a book that's as competently done and fan favorite and selling as well as a book like The Flash. But no, you got to pull Jeremy Adams off and go send him to do literally anything else.
So even when they do good stuff, they always pull the rug out from under you. They blow it up way too early. They destroy everything that's even remotely good. I can't wait to see what they actually do with World's Finest. Guaranteed they're going to blow that thing up too. And there is some cool stuff going on. There's certainly a lot of cool stuff going on with like crowdfunding comic books, Kickstarter, obviously Indiegogo, breaking records and stuff like that. The stuff that Eric July did, covered it here on the channel a couple of times, really shaking up the industry. Feels like maybe an Asian of change. That stuff's all really exciting. That stuff's all really good. Well, guess what? Indiegogo comic books and Kickstarter comic books, because I'm in the Philippines, not only do I have to pay for the comic book, but I have to pay for another $45 to $60 for shipping. So it's pretty much unsupportable, not to mention the fact that the post office here sucks, so I get everything 2 months later than everyone else, and I don't get to enjoy it with anyone else, so I can't even get in on that stuff. And I support crowdfunding stuff. I think all that's great. I think if you really want to make comic books and you think Marvel and DC suck and you want to show them how to do it, that is the coolest thing that you can do. But I have friends that make their own comic books and everything's fucking tribal. I can't be friends with anybody. Or next thing you know, there's like a video about what an asshole I am because I'm friends with Doug Ernst. Like, go fuck yourselves. I can be friends with whoever I want. The fucking drama associated with crowdfunding comic books, like behind the scenes, in a lot of cases in front of the scenes, it makes it not fun anymore, Doc.
Oh, God, you cannot possibly be more right on this. The alternative to the comic book industry that was supposed to not be tribal and not be filled with fucking weirdos turned into being tribal filled with weirdos. Stop it. People are allowed to be friends with who they want. They're still allowed to support Doug Ernst and Eric July and EVS and Eric Canetti and your boy Zach and whatever weirdo lesbian bicycle riding anthology is on Kickstarter this month that nobody else is going to read. They're allowed to do all of those things and shut up. I'm on my side. Wes is on his side. Everyone's on their own side.
It feels like I'm in middle school again on the playground. It's like, what is this? I thought I grew up, I was in the military for 20 years. There was less drama there.
I know.
We were getting shot at.
Yeah, you were getting shot at and blown up, and there was still less drama than the goddamn comic book industry. We used to laugh at the regular comic industry for basically saying Ethan can't be here anymore because he's friends with your boy Zach. We thought that was the most retarded shit in history. How the fuck did you all become less mature as you got older? I understand it in the comic book industry, like the mainstream comic book industry. But you
guys are losers. We're not.
Yes, exactly. This is why I keep coming back to we need to shove nerds in lockers more.
Put them through their paces. You got to earn your stripes.
Exactly. Maybe you nerds will quit being so fucking uppity. And you know what? There are some really great crowdfunding books. I love every single time Eric Canetti releases another issue of Arcathena. It's wonderful. It sits on my bookshelf well. It's cheap. It's beautiful. It's fast-paced. It's literally everything you want in a comic, in a superhero action comic book. And do you see him getting involved in anybody's petty bullshit? No. He's just a normal dude that happens to like making comic books when he's not making animation and other much more.
Well, same thing with like Mark Miller. I see people taking pot shots at Mark Miller. I think Ramon Villalobos is like, oh, Mark Miller was in Cutter. You imagine they thought he was a loser. It's like, Mark Miller has enough money that he can take his entire family to Dubai and have a vacation. You can't leave California. Why are you talking crap about this guy? And Mark Miller never responds to any of that stuff. He just goes out there to sell comic books. I think he should be the example. He and like Todd McFarlane to fucking everybody. If you want to be a superstar, those are the guys that you should be looking up to because they go out there, they do their business, and all they do is sell, sell, sell.
Yes, absolutely. And Mark, the only thing he does is say, hey, I want to find the best comic book artist for my really crazy story and then make them a bunch of money too. Mark Miller is the ambassador to comics. In my opinion, I think Todd's about 15 years too late. He kind of became a little bit of a bitter asshole. He's a great artist. I love what he wants to do with his Spawn stuff. The way that he is only focused on that and he's not really focused on the comic book industry. He's just focused on Spawn comic books, which, I mean, great, but not really the ambassador. But Mark literally just goes out and steals everybody else's talent, puts them on a great book. I mean, fuck, he just got Travis Charest. The only way that he could top that is if he somehow gets J. Scott Campbell to do like a 6-issue miniseries with the interiors. The dude is right now the example of what everyone in comics should try to be doing. The people that don't ignore him just somehow manage to take pot shots at him. I'm pretty sure that dude, like, I remember seeing an article about after he got like his bank from Netflix, he basically paid off everyone's mortgage in the town he lives in fucking Scotland. The dude is a great, great guy. And he's also doing great comics that are being adapted into media, that are getting more people interested in the source material, that might actually draw people into the comic book store because his TV shows are actually relatively similar to his goddamn comic books.
He got his own deal. He's not associated with the big two. He can do whatever the hell he wants, and he makes the best comic books in the industry. The other thing we got to talk about, Doc, this has been coming up lately. People are mad at you. They think that you're too much of a negative Nancy. What happened to you? Are we going to see a kinder, gentler Doc here on the channel?
If the comic book industry will decide to stop sucking, I will start being a more pleasant person because I will be happier, because I will be getting the things that I actually want. Yes, I'm essentially a toddler throwing a goddamn temper tantrum. But you know what? It's kind of fun.
Well, people want me to drop you from the channel. They don't realize. Before I even started the channel, I asked you if you'd come on and do shows with me.
Oh, hell yeah. And look,
5 years. I'm not getting rid of you. Get out of here.
Exactly. I mean, look,
I'm stuck with him.
I love being on the channel. I don't mind the occasional week off when you overbook. Lets me go, cut down a tree or do some yard work or some shit. But no, I love being here. I love hearing about other people, like when they are enjoying something. You know what? It brings me joy to hear other people really enjoying something. Now, when they're really enjoy something that's really bad, then they just have poor taste. And I'm going to make fun of them for that, because I will always make fun of people with bad taste, even if I'm in a very wonderful mood.
So you're not going to take it easy on Tevye and his terrible taste in comic books, or Fatal J and his terrible ideas about movies?
No, I will not. I love those guys, but there's a lot of people out there with really, really terrible taste. It can be in comic books, it can be movies, it can be music. Now, when they're wrong, when they are just flat out wrong, I am going to make it clear that they are very, very wrong, because I want good media. I want good, entertaining, high selling, profitable media. I'm doing this because I love comics, and I'm making fun of bad things because I love comics. If they don't like getting their wonderful fifis hurt from me making fun of them, make better comics.
That was an exhilarating rant. Like to get that stuff off my chest from time to time. Some of you may be wondering, well, Wes, how the hell did we get here? In fact, DC and Marvel have destroyed the floppy business and are putting people out of business. Doc and I talked about this one a few months later. If you want some cold, hard facts from comic book shops themselves, you can't see the video here. There's also a link in the video description.